What is up, guys? It's Dan the Man, and today I'm back with another tournament I'm going to be playing in. It's the last tournament I'm going to play for 2025, so it's a nice way to sign off on the year and marvel at the amount of chess I've played over the board. And for those of you that didn't watch my last video, I said that I would quote-unquote retire from classical chess because I played a pretty atrocious game in a state tournament where I basically had a totally winning position and screwed it up and let my opponent, who was lower rated, win. And that really tilted me to the point where I wanted to take a hiatus from playing over the board. But, it's winter break. I got back from college and I'm like, okay, I'm lying to myself. There's no way I'm not going to play chess, especially when it's at Chess Zone, my favorite venue to play at. And I'm like, yeah, what the heck? Let's just play and see what happens. Maybe if I'm still tilted or if I'm going to recover and it was just an off day and not really a detriment to my chess ability. So anyway, first round, I'm playing in the December action with 4 rounds with 60 plus 5 time control. First game, I'm playing against Steve Higgins, rated 1773. I don't know that name. I don't really know who this person is, so I didn't really know what to expect. So let's just go ahead and jump in here. So Steve opens up with the English opening with c4. I go with e5. We're going to the reverse Sicilian variation. Knight c3, knight f6, and g3. He goes for some sort of fianchettoed bishop line. It's apparently called the Carl's Bremen system, but who am I to know that? I don't really know my English too well. I go bishop d4. I know this is a move to try to double the pawns and eliminate the knight that's aiming at the center. And often what white will do is white will play knight to d5, and then the bishop just retreats to c5, so I was sort of maybe expecting that. But he just plays bishop g2, very principled. We castle. He goes e4, gaining more control on the d5 square, but also at the same time sort of blocking in his bishop, so it comes with the drawback as well. I go with d6 to open the path for my light-squared bishop. He goes knight on g to e2, so as to prepare d4 and not blocking the bishop further. I go with knight c6, castle, and I go with bishop to e6, developing and attacking the pawn on c4. And here, Steve plays knight d5, which was a move I was expecting. And here, it would be a mistake to take the knight. First off, if you take the knight with the knight, you would get forked. And if you take the knight with the bishop, then you're helping white improve their pawn structure and gain more space. So this is a concept in chess called tension, where neither side wants to take the pieces that are staring at each other. And if white were to take my knight, then I would take with the queen and improve my position. So we're having sort of a standoff with the knights here. And that's going to be the case for a lot of moves. So I go with bishop to c5. And at this point, we each had about 52 minutes on the clock. He plays d3, preparing to go with bishop to g5, which would be pretty annoying because I would be forced to double my pawns if I didn't do something about it. So I go with h6 just to stop any sort of nonsense. And here he plays h3, possibly mimicking my idea here. I go with knight d4. My idea was to free up the c-pawn to go c6 so that knight can be kicked out. So that's why I played knight d4. We get a quick trade in the center, and then Steve plays bishop to e3. Now, after bishop to e3, I was thinking for a long time here because, first off, if the bishop takes my bishop on d4, I would end up with a pretty weird pawn structure. I would have some doubled pawns on the d file, which isn't something I wanted. And I was thinking, okay, if I take this way, then white will open the rook, and, he'll double my pawns with knight f6. Maybe after I save my knight, maybe he'll bring the queen in or something. I didn't want the rook to be opened up, so that's why I refrained from taking. But apparently the engine says after knight h7, I'm the one with the advantage, and if white tries to, maybe bring the pieces to the king's side, this is no problem at all, and there's nothing to be worried about. So that's why I didn't trade on e3. I was worried about the rook being opened, And I was thinking if I take on b2, then I help white's rook get on b1, and then white's going to take on b7 and then have a really active rook combined with the fact that the knight is sitting on d5. So I didn't want to open the lines to my opponent's pieces. So, and I also didn't want to have my bishop taken to double my pawns. So I thought the best move was bishop to b6. That way, if I were to get captured, I would take with the a pawn, which is what happened in the game. And the benefit of this is that I have an open rook now, and it can play a role in attacking the queen side. But the engine says that white has a better position, possibly because after the next move, which is f4. f4 is a phenomenal move. f4 is a great move because he's gaining space on the king side. He's preparing to go f5 and gain space on my position. And then if I take, or he's actually just threatening to take here and then open his rook, as we discussed, and he's just preparing to have all his pieces staring at my king side. So here I play e takes f4, and he plays the correct capture. He plays g takes f4, renewing the threat of playing f5 and gaining more space. So after I play rook e8, I kind of didn't really know what to do. He played f5 as I anticipated. Obviously, bishop d7, the only safe square to go. And here he plays queen d2, and this is where I started to get a little bit worried because he has a battery on my h6 pawn, so some sacrifices are possible. Let's say I don't do anything. Let's just say I play a random move. Yeah, he's just flat out winning here after this. And I can't even take because the queen would hop in, and then the rook would come over and, checkmate me. So the threat is to stack on h6, and there isn't really a whole lot of moves to confront that. So the only move I really thought was possible was king h7. And there were other moves, but this move is also acceptable. And here Steve played bishop to f3. I guess he's making some space for maybe the queen to go here or something like that, or maybe putting the bishop on a different diagonal. I don't really know. But here I play bishop c6. If our bishops were ever to trade, I would be happy to do that because I would get rid of a piece that could potentially attack my king. Here he played the move king h2, preparing. Now the point of bishop f3 is more evident. He's freeing up his rooks to double on the g-file and go after my g7 pawn, which is pretty soft. But it's still a drawn position, even though I feel like I'm much worse. So I played knight d7 with the idea of to go to e5 and control some squares in the center and have a nice outpost. He plays rook g1 almost instantly. And here we each had about 30 minutes on the clock. Here I play knight e5, my whole idea. But apparently this is a mistake. Because after bishop to e2, that knight is going to be kicked out with d4 next turn. And then after my knight moves, he would go d5 and gain tempo on the bishop. So he also just has this massive center here. He has two center pawns. My center isn't really... I'm not really fighting for the center that much. He also has the bishop pair. My king's under some pressure, so that's why white's significantly better. So I try to bring some more pieces to the defense with queen f6. And I was really hoping here that at some point in this game, Steve would play bishop d4, which is a blunder because his bishop is very valuable in pressuring my king. And by playing bishop d4, I can play this check on f3 and then trade off my knight for the bishop, and then I wouldn't be under any sort of serious firepower under his pieces. So I was really hoping to trade off the bishop in some capacity, in some way. So he plays rook g3. Whole idea is to bring the other rook to g1, and now he has a bishop, a queen, two rooks, and maybe even the bishop on e2, all knocking on my door, ready to checkmate me. So this isn't great. So here I go b5. I'm trying to maybe create some counterplay on the queen side, and the idea of that is that if white were to go d4, my knight wouldn't retreat backwards. It could take on c4, and that was my idea. Let me just show that real fast. If d4 were to happen, my idea would be to take on c4, and I would win a pawn and also force a trade of the bishop pair. So that's why he can't go there immediately. Okay, so after b5, he played rook on a to g1, and I'm essentially forced to go rook g8 to keep everything defended. I'm now much worse, +3. And although I'm not down anything materially, all my pieces are sort of cocooned in a little corner of the board, and White's pieces are applying a lot of pressure. So here, Steve makes a blunder. Seemingly logical move. He plays b3. He was scared that I'm sure he was thinking like his position is so solid and so good, he doesn't need to rush with anything, so he can just play a simple move like this. But apparently this gives away a lot of the advantage. So I play b captures on c4, b captures on c4, and here I play the move g5. And the point of g5 is I'm trying to close the king side as much as possible. And if I was thinking, okay, if en passant happens, I would go rook captures. And after rook captures, I was thinking knight captures. And if he were to go pawn grabbing, I would maybe throw in a check on f2. I was thinking somewhere along those lines. Then maybe going queen h4. But I was just trying to trade as many pieces as possible. Because I want to trade here. I'm the one being attacked. So whenever you're being attacked in chess, you want to try to trade as much as you can. So I play g5. And if he doesn't en passant me now, he can't never en passant me. So it's either en passant or I'm going to shut down the file. So here he played the move d4. Here I get desperate. I play knight takes c4. I could have moved the knight to d7. I was debating between the two. But then after knight d7, I'm like, he's going to go d5. My bishop only has one square to go to. And my bishop is not doing anything on a4. It's just out of play entirely. But after the game, we discussed it. And he said he wouldn't have played d5 because he would have let my knight go back to e5 since a hole was created. So and he's right about that. So in retrospect, maybe I should have played this. But my move isn't really any worse. It's the second move of the computer. And why isn't it deleting? There you go. So here I sack a piece for 2 pawns. I play knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, and bishop takes e4. So now I have 2 pawns for the bishop, and I'm still much worse, but at least I can win the f5 pawn next turn because it's being double attacked. So I'm going to be having 3 pawns for the piece, and I'm looking to go into an endgame where I can have more drawing chances. So here he plays h4, sacking another pawn, which makes sense because he wants to try to trade the rooks off. He thinks the endgame's winning. So after we do this mass series of trades, he plays bishop takes h6 with 20 minutes on the clock. And I notice here he's threatening to trade queens on g5, which is not something I want. So I delay the trade by playing d5. He can't play queen g5 because the bishop on c4 would be hanging, because my pawn would be attacking it. And he can't go bishop d3 because I would take on d3 and then take on h6. So he has to save the bishop in some way. He can't offer another trade. So he goes with bishop g5, which I was pretty surprised to see. I was expecting the bishop to just retreat. And he actually told me after the game that he totally forgot that I can take on f5 with my queen, which I do. And now he's in a lot of trouble here because even though the material is even, his bishop has to move, right? And once it does to b3, I now have this move queen to g4. And what queen g4 does is it threatens checkmate on g3. And he has to defend the g3 square in some way. But also queen g2 is a threat, so white has a lot of threats to deal with. So if he goes like queen e3 here, that's not a move because queen g2 is mate. If he goes queen f4, same thing. And if he tries to play queen f2 to try to keep both threats covered, then he forgets about the bishop on g5. So white has a lot of threats to deal with. So really the only move to stay in the game is bishop to f4. But now I play this move queen f3. Same issue. I'm threatening a lot of things. I'm threatening queen h1 mate, and I'm also eyeing queen g2 mate, queen g3 mate, and queen takes f4, depending on what white does. So simultaneously threatening a lot of things. So here he goes king g1, the only real move again in the position. And now I go queen h1 check, king f2, and now I go h3. I blunder my advantage. I was thinking about playing queen g2 check, and obviously king e3 would be mate in 1 with queen f3. But I didn't play this because after king e1, I was looking for some sort of checkmate, but I didn't see any. So I just decided to just discard that idea and play h3. H3 is surprisingly a mistake, but only if white plays the move queen e2 and threatens to go to g4 and bother me with some checks. And then the engine gets weird. It says you can move the king here and then blockade the pawn in some sort of fashion, but with low time, under like 10 minutes, there's no way he would have found this, I'm assuming. So that's the only reason h3 is bad. He plays bishop takes c7 here, and that doesn't address the problem. Here I play queen g2 check, king to e1. I go queen g1 check, king to e2, and now I play h2. And now he has to give back one of his pieces, which he does. And after this happens, I'm up a pawn here. And after a few moves, I play queen to g1 check. He blocks the wrong way. He plays queen e1, forgets about this pawn on d4. And in this position, Steve Higgins resigned the game, and we win round 1 of the tournament. I was pretty worried I would go on to lose this game to start off, and would think that the tilt would be contributing to that. But we somehow ended up winning and getting on top. This all happened because of the bishop g5 blunder, which allowed me to take on f5. But other than that, he put me under a lot of firepower, a lot of pressure, and his attack was really strong. And yeah, he had me on the ropes. So if you look at the accuracy here, we both played decently. He played at 80.2, and I played at 84.1. So we both played at around a B level, which is pretty good. And if you guys like content like this, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, let me know what you thought of the game, and stay tuned for the next games. I'll be posting whenever I have the chance to. And yeah, have a great rest of your day or night. Bye.